If every human suddenly vanished from the face of the earth, how long would it be before the last artificial light went out? The answer isn't just a number, it is a chronicle of our civilization slowly fading away, from instant chaos to a silence that will last for centuries. In the first few minutes after we disappear, the planet will look deceptively alive. Lights will glow in windows, street lamps will illuminate empty avenues, and server rooms will hum, processing streams of data that no one will ever read. But this inertia won't last long. Our civilization is a complex machine that demands a constant operator. The first to fall will be the giants fed by fossil fuels. Coal and gas power plants, which provide the lion's share of the world's energy, are insatiable beasts. They require a constant supply of fuel. As soon as humans stop feeding the furnaces and monitoring gas pressure, the turbines will spin down to a halt, but the fuel isn't even the main problem. The power grid is a fragile balance between production and consumption. As the first major plants drop offline, the electrical load will violently shift to the remaining ones. Automated systems won't handle the chaos. A cascade of failures will begin. Within hours, a day at most, the lights of the world's megacities will go out forever. At this point, we might pin our hopes on nuclear energy. It seems logical. A single fuel rod holds enough energy to power cities for years. It is the triumph of 20th century science. But here lies the irony of our engineering. We designed nuclear plants to be so safe that without humans, they are doomed to silence. Once the external power grid collapses, reactors lose the ability to offload the energy they generate. Safety systems, receiving no commands from operators, will interpret this as a critical failure. The emergency protection will trigger, control rods will drop into the core, and the chain reaction will stop. The atom's massive potential will be suffocated by our own safety protocols. The plants will go into sleep mode just a couple of days after we vanish. Light will remain only where civilization learned to survive in isolation. On remote islands, polar research stations, and in bunkers, diesel generators will chug to life. These are simple, rugged machines. They will burn fuel to the very last drop, but their life is limited by the volume of their tanks. Somewhere the light will last a week, elsewhere with massive reservoirs, perhaps a couple of months. Then we turn to the forces of nature. Geothermal plants in Iceland, drawing power from the Earth's heat, could theoretically run forever. After all, the Earth won't cool down for billions of years. But engineering reality is harsh. These stations are complex mechanisms with gearboxes, bearings, and pumps. Every 6 months, a human needs to change the oil and grease the parts. Without this, entropy steps in. Corrosion will eat the metal, friction will destroy the nodes. Within a year or two, these stations will stop, defeated by a lack of lubrication. Wind turbines will last longer. History shows examples of Danish turbines spinning for over a decade without maintenance, but they aren't eternal either. The wind that gives them life also carries dust that clogs the mechanisms. Sooner or later, the giant blades will freeze. And what about the majestic hydroelectric dams? The Hoover Dam is a monument to human persistence. Engineers say it could run on autopilot for years. Water spins turbines, turbines give current, but nature has its own weapon against our technology. Not explosions or cataclysms, but, for example, mollusks. In the US, invasive species of mussels clog water intake pipes, blocking the cooling systems for the generators. Without cleaning, the systems will overheat and shut down. Even the Great Hoover Dam will go dark within a few years. By this point, a decade later, Earth will be plunged into darkness. The only remaining sparks of light will be autonomous solar systems, emergency beacons in deserts, weather stations in the mountains. Solar panels have no moving parts to lubricate, but their enemy is time and chemistry. The batteries that store energy for the night will degrade. After 15 to 20 years, they will lose their capacity. The panels themselves will be coated in layers of dust, moss, or bird droppings, with no one to wash them off. The light of the LEDs will grow dimmer until it vanishes completely. It seems like the end. The history of human light is over, but there is one source that defies the logic of fading. It isn't under the sun or in the wind. It is hidden deep underground, in concrete sarcophagi and vaults we built to last ages. The absolute champion of survival is our nuclear waste, elements like cesium-137 or strontium-90. We mix them with liquid glass to create solid, transparent blocks, burying them out of sight, but physics continues to work even in the grave. Radioactive particles, launching from atoms at immense speeds, move through the glass faster than light can travel in that medium. This creates the Cherenkov effect, a sort of optical sonic boom. This generates an eerie, cold, unnaturally blue glow. This light needs no wires, no turbines, no sun. It is the pure energy of matter decaying. The half-life of cesium is 30 years. This means that even a century later, these blocks will still be active. 200 years from now, when only the skeletons of buildings remain on the surface, overgrown by forests, deep in the darkness of the underground, this blue fire will continue to burn. What does this say about us? It leads to a strange philosophical conclusion. We are used to thinking that humanity's legacy is art, architecture, great discoveries, or signals sent to the cosmos, but the most durable, persistent trace of our presence will be our most toxic mistakes. The last light on Earth will not be a beacon of hope, but a warning sign shining in the void where no one is left to see it. The universe is indifferent to our disappearance, but we forced matter itself to glow in memory of the fact that we once tried to conquer it. I'd be grateful for any support. Leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the like button. It really helps the channel.